derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Live from Radio Cayman Studio.
This is For the Record with ORRETT Connor.
Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
With ORRETT Connor.
Informative, impartial, insightful. This is For the Record. And now, your host, ORRETT.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees, so fair. Today is Wednesday, the 24th day of September 2025, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We do hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on our roads, if you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or if you're operating any type of motorized vehicle, we urge you to please, please, please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road, because the life you save may just be your own. I will dispense with the rest of my opening comments. We will have the birthday shout out after the 8 o'clock news as well. And of course, the birthday shout outs brought to you by Coca-Cola, who are proud to support your birthday shout outs. Coca-Cola available across the Cayman Islands. You should accept no substitutes. Share a Coke with someone special. First, let me apologize for yesterday's debacle. We were scheduled to have representatives from UCCI and guests, overseas speakers in the studio with us. And unfortunately, because of scheduling conflicts, that was not possible. So we are extremely grateful to be able to host them this morning. Of course, we will be talking about the CASSA 2025 conference that is taking place. I'm not going to say anymore. I'm going to introduce Dr. Livingston Smith and have him introduce our guest, or distinguished guest in the studio with us. Dr. Smith, good morning. Welcome, sir.
I'm excited to be here. And OC, because the conference begins today, CASSA really means the Caribbean Sociological Association, of which I'm the current president, and in line with UCCI's 50th anniversary celebration, the conference is being held right here in Cayman, right here at UCCI. We have over 60 papers to be delivered, and the subjects are pretty wide and very interesting. We have subjects like gender justice, youth development, migration issues feature very highly in this conference. Environmental justice, port sociology is also top. Issues of incarceration, quite a few papers around violence and incarceration issues and things like that. How do we decolonize knowledge is also part of that conversation, and many other areas, really. So we believe that everybody should get involved in this particular conversation. And what we've done is to make it very accessible, all right? So if persons want to get registered, they can do so online. You can go to UCCI's website and access the online registration there. What we've done is to say it's $50 for all 3 days, and we take care of lunch also because of the fact that we have been heavily sponsored. But there are parts of the conference which are free to everybody, really. Take, for example, even though we begin officially at 1 o'clock today with some important panels, the keynote lecture is delivered this evening at 6 o'clock. And that is open to everybody. So we're here to encourage the entire public, come along to UCCI, come into the Sir Vassar Johnson Hall, and be, we're going to have an inspiring presentation on a most relevant issue. The title is Transnational Migration. And as you hear about migration, that becomes rather riveting, remittances and diaspora engagement. And the keynote presenter, who I'm sure Mr. Elizabeth Carey is going to speak to in more detail, is Dr. Alisa Trotz, who is a heavyweight really, not only in Canada, but certainly globally, and a Caribbean person. She is a professor of Caribbean Studies at the University of Toronto. And interestingly, she is also one of the 100 most influential black persons in Canada, certainly in academia and so on.
When you Google her name, it comes right up on top of the list.
So we're excited to have her here. And but we also have right here another presenter, no less significant, Dr. Roy McCree. He's going to be having a panel covering sports sociology, sports for development and sports as development. There are quite a few Caribbean thinkers and writers about sports as a tool for development. And he'll speak about that. He was just appointed Dean of Sports at UWI. And of course, we have many other presenters coming on. So we want to have a conversation this morning, but really the idea is to encourage persons listening, please come along and be part of this very important conversation.
Okay, Ms. T.
So good morning. Good morning, everyone, to the Cayman diaspora and all of the folks that are tuning in. And yes, OC managed to drag me out again this morning at the request of Dr. Liv. So as Liv spoke of Alisa, I'm just going to get right into it, right? Because Alisa and I went to York University together. She and I competed rigorously those years at York, and we were York's top 2 scholars for political science. We had similar mentors at York as well. In fact, just last night I was asking you about some of them, and one recommended that she go to Cambridge. One of mine recommended that I also go to Cambridge as well. I wasn't too pleased with the experience when I went for the interview at Cambridge. So I went to Bristol because Sherry Oliver and other of our local colleagues actually went there. And Bristol was a good university as well. But Alisa brings something dynamic to this particular event, not suggesting or undermining that other folks won't do something similar. The way she's razor focused, and she's also energetic about things that she undertakes. So it's not surprising, for example, that she is ranked as she does in Canada and in the Caribbean. Watch her now, so shy and looking back as if, and that's the kind of way she used to operate in York, as if she can mash ants. And then, there she took up. But I know some of her areas of interest include transnational feminist studies, Caribbean studies, and focus on intellectual traditions and feminist political economy. But as Liv also said, she's also interested in transnational migration and the diaspora. And I think in particular, many Caymanians who are coming out will have a specific interest in what she has to say about that. And without any further ado, because I know time is money, I'll just hand it back over to either Alisa or Dr. Roy.
Okay.
Ladies first?
Yes, definitely.
Well, thank you. I don't even know what to say after those 2 introductions. We hosted the famous Indian writer Arundhati Roy in Toronto 2 weeks ago, and she ended her reading from her latest memoir with a passage from her a collection of writings called The End of Imagination that said, never forget the importance of your own insignificance. I think that's a really good lesson for us here in the Caribbean, and that, walking with that humility and the constant knowledge that the more you read or the less you actually know. And I think for both Teresa and I, it's wonderful to be here with you. I think that I feel it's safe to say, knowing Teresa from then and now, that the constant attempt to to read more, to understand more, is driven not by a sort of arrogance, but by a sense that one is always in conversation and in community with others. And it is, I think, with that sort of sentiment that I'm so delighted to be in Cayman for the first time. I hope Caymanians come out, because all the Caribbean people I meet so far, everybody says their first time here. That tells you something about the fact that it took me one direct flight from Canada to get here, but my Caribbean brothers and sisters had to take 1 day, 2 days flying, hopping through the Caribbean to get here. So we have come here. We're very excited. We don't want to just be in conversation with ourselves. We would like to meet Caymanians. I'm really excited to hear and learn about Cayman. I've been invited to speak on this topic, which is really important for the majority of the Caribbean countries, that has to do with transnational migration and the development of remittances as a strategy by Caribbean governments and international financial institutions in the face of what they see as declining or arresting foreign direct investment. And this is a particularly pertinent issue for so much of the Caribbean that sends so many of their people abroad. In Dominica, it's about 109% of the local population migrates. I'm from Guyana, which is also a net sender. So I think it's a great opportunity for us all to have a conversation about that, and also to reflect on those parts of the Caribbean that are different, like Cayman, which is a net receiver of immigrants. And so I think some of the issues that come up are similar and will land, and some of the issues are also quite specific and have to be thought about differently. At the same time, that I think what is important here is to recognize that all of this, whether we're net senders or net receivers of migrants, comes in a context of a region that is particularly vulnerable to external flows and influences. Our development is externally driven. It makes us particularly vulnerable, whatever our development strategies are. And that's something that I think we need to put our heads together as Caribbean people to figure out what it means, especially in an increasingly hostile environment. I think it's an opportunity to really begin to think about what are Caribbean solutions to Caribbean problems. And it is in that spirit that I really look forward to the conversation tonight.
Okay.
How are you going to beat that, Dr. Roy?
Good morning, people of Cayman Islands, near and far. It's a pleasure to be in the Cayman Islands for the first time. I'm excited to be here and to be a part of this conference. I am coming from Sociology and the Sociology of Sport, which really tries to look at how sport has been implicated in relations of power in society. So it looks particularly at issues of gender, issues of sexism and racism and classism, ableism, as well. And the big issue of nationalism has been central to the use of sport in the society. We have seen it in cricket, where sport has been used to try to create a sense of West Indian nationalism, and it has sort of defined sport's role, major role in the society, how it has been used to create particular forms of identity, both national and even masculine identity. My panel looks at sport for development and also sport development. They are different. Sport development looks at issues of medal production, athletes winning medals, countries winning particular championships. It looks at the issue of media broadcast, infrastructure, facilities, and coaches. That's what sport development looks at. And sociology of sport looks at how the factors that undermine access, to making national teams, to coaches, to facilities, and that sort of thing. Sport for development, which has been around for some time. Growing up, all of us would have had a sense or been socialized, not all, to see sport as a means by which we can develop discipline and respect for authority and obedience and all that nice stuff. Because sport has been constructed as a sort of paragon of virtue. And these were important virtues, be disciplined, be obedient, be respectful. Sport for development, though, incorporates that, but now it's being used to help deal with issues of health, issues of obesity. Yes. It's a very critical issue now. Issues of gender equality, to help deal with issues of violence and conflict in the society as a form of, we call it pacification. And the Sustainable Development Goals have incorporated sport in an attempt to achieve some of these things. Gender equality, healthy lifestyles to help deal with the non-communicable diseases, crisis in the world. And so that's what sport for development, or sport through development, or development through sport looks at, as they try to use sport as a strategy to help implement social policy objectives and facilitate social development. So my panel looks at those two issues of sport development and sport for development. So there are papers, one on Martinique, that looks at women involvement in boat racing, because sport has been seen as one of those patriarchal institutions, a male preserve that reinforce notions, Barbie doll conceptions of femininity. Women are not supposed to take part in hard stuff, play football, rugby, and do boat racing. So Dr. Ellen Zamor, a colleague at Cavell campus of the university, she looks at how women have been involved in one of their boat races in Martinique, and how the women have met with resistance, how women have also been facilitated by some men. Not all men are patriarchs or adhere to notions of orthodox patriarchy, and she looks at that. Cuba, there's a paper on Cuba looking at how Cuban women have been part of Cuba's foreign sport policy and using sport as a form of soft power, in the world. And women have been central to that. Cuban female athletes, particularly in track and field and in volleyball. There is a paper by your colleague, Dr. Placide, who looks at sport in Haiti. Haiti has a particular checkered, lovely, glorious history. The Western media may not make you see it that way, but he shows how sport has been used to send out positive images about Haiti. And it is really built around nationalism and sport in Haiti. And how Haitians in baseball, in soccer, men and women have been sort of using sport to sort of not to give positive vibes and image of Haiti. And this is one of the few papers on Haiti in sport that I am aware of. And so it's really a sort of pioneering piece on sport. But this is sport for development, how sport is being used to construct positive images, not just of oneself, but of a nation that has been under siege for 400
plus years.
A while.
Yes.
There's a paper that looks at women in boxing. Boxing has been one of those stereotypical patriarchal sports. Women shouldn't be boxing. Boxing is for men. Women have been boxing since the 18th century. And there's a paper looking at the use of boxing among women in Trinidad to develop a sense of self-esteem, self-confidence among women, and also protection, so they could defend themselves, against unwanted advances, and situations. So there's another paper that looks at that. There is a paper that looks at esports, which Professor Russell stuck at. He's looking at that, which is new as an entity. Sport now has become much a business, a commercial enterprise, and esports is new to the Caribbean. It has taken off as a particular variant, in sport.
And then you have drone football now.
Yes, so it's just developing and developing.
Will you be and a focus be placed on small island development states as far as sports is concerned and the challenges that they face? For instance, we know the island games have been developed simply because some of the smaller islands have been overwhelmed on the international stage as far as the Olympics are concerned. I know in my day and age, if we had the facilities and the exposure that many of my friends who were great athletes would have been Olympians, but we simply didn't have the exposure to it. Will any focus be placed on any of that?
Let me back up a bit. So this panel is really the product of a book that I've edited looking at sport development and sport for development in the Caribbean. And in making a case for the book, one of the arguments was that it is to show the challenges that small island, societies, countries face in the development of sport, and in the globalization of sport. So it does look at the particular challenges faced by small island states as it relates to the development of sport. But we sort of go down further by looking at issues of gender, and issues of nationalism, and the Cuban case, how sport was central to the Cuban Revolution, and in challenging, the external forces that have tried to, undermine that revolution. Haiti, how sport has been used in Haiti to deal with some of the challenges they face, ongoing challenges, real, as I speak to you, challenges that Haitians face in just establishing their identity, in the world. And there's also a paper in that book looking at sport and disability, post-earthquake, that big earthquake that killed so many persons, how sport, it was soccer, was used, persons who were handicapped, it's another word I should use, disabled, have used soccer to recover and to deal with the challenges they face on a daily basis in Haiti, and how the soccer also, that soccer team also helped give Haiti a sense of pride because they did well internationally. So the book was grounded in the experiences of small island states in using sport to deal with issues of identity at all levels, national identity, gender identity, personal identity, and this is what this panel is really giving us sort of insight into.
See, one second. I'm
Sure,
curious only because I worked with FIFA and CONCACAF and with the Caribbean Football Union when Randy Harris was in charge. So I'm curious about how does academia integrate with these professional organizations, not just looking at internally what goes on within the island, but how the links that you have so that you can actually develop some of the research based on having that relationship. And like I said, my limited experiences with FIFA and CONCACAF and the Caribbean Football Union.
Two responses. In 1995, FIFA introduced a master's in sport. Okay? And since 2001, the University of the West Indies has been offering a sport management program and a diploma in sport management. And the idea, that is to deal with the commercialization of soccer. And you need people who are specialized in event management, facility management, sponsorship and marketing to be part of that, sport industry and sport business. The other big issue that confronts FIFA every day is racism in sport. And they have a big program to stamp racism out of sport. Because black footballers in Europe, they're still going to get thick skin thrown at them, monkey chants going on. So they have a program, give racism the red card. Okay? So and then to do that, you need academics and to do the research and to be monitoring the incidence of racism in soccer. Okay? So that is how academics, researchers, sociologists get involved in the football business, in the sociology of football, all right, through developing a sport management program, which deals with the business side of it, and then trying to deal with racism in football by doing research on fan racism, on spectator racism, on an ongoing basis.
And trafficking as well. But
yes.
Dr. Liv, we of course going to have a hard stop at 8 o'clock, but we have a few questions from our listeners as well. This person wanted to know whether or not any of the conference will be seen on government TV or on any other media platform. And another person wanted to say that they would like to attend the conference but unable to do so due to work. Can you ask if there is a virtual ticket option? I would take this up. So two things.
Yeah, those are very good questions and relate to the same thing. What we've done, OC, is to make it accessible in terms of the cost and in terms of the plenaries and the keynotes, persons can come, there's no cost at all. We don't currently have an online option, but we have asked GIS to come along and do some coverage of that, probably to show later on. But what we've also done is through the DG, to say to civil servants, they can, they have the program, they can select what they want to come to enjoy. So it's open to civil servants at no cost. We can't provide lunch, but just come along to the session that you particularly want to attend. The sessions begin today, actually, from 1 o'clock. So we've tried our best to make it accessible, and we want to stir that interest in this crucial event for sure.
Now, mention was made of several publications as well. Other than the material that will be there, will any of the books that some of your panelists or your guest speakers have, will they be available at the conference?
Well, for one, a book will come out of the conference itself, but that's for later on. But our key commanding writer would be Roy Bodden, President Emeritus. And there are many persons coming from abroad who don't know about Cayman in terms of its like some real analysis about Cayman. So his books will be available. His most current book, of course, is Deconstructing Development, Immigration, Society, and Economy in the Early 21st Century. Cayman will be available for persons coming from abroad, and even Caymanians who have not, possessed those books.
But none of the speakers' publications will be available.
No, however, when you come, you can meet them and get the links and get the books for sure. And, also part of a conference is the links that you develop and the conversation that continue and the friendships that really are formed that sometimes lead to some very, very positive things after the event.
Okay. I want to give you an opportunity for the final plug.
I really want everybody to be part of this. It's a critical event. It's part of UCCI's 50th anniversary. As a university, we are very interested in engaging the public in important issues. And this is one example of that. All right? So remember now, you can come on campus today, get registered. You can go online, UCCI's website, and get registered. It's $50, very, very accessible. The opening lecture is keynote lecture at 6 o'clock today.
I will be there.
And it's open to everybody. It's a topic that really is global, is Caribbean, is Cayman. I'm interested in that topic. So come along and be part of that. At the end of the lecture, you can ask question Q&A. And at the end of that, there's also a kind of recessional and things like that, so you can be part of that.
Okay, thank you.
So go get registered and be part of it. For senior high school students, it's free. For college students, it's free and things like that. Yeah.
Okay, and thanks to UCCI for promoting these stimulating events in the Cayman Islands, as well. It helps to give, our people so much more exposure, and we welcome people to take advantage of it as well.
I want to use this opportunity to big up, as the Jamaicans say, Professor Livingston Smith for planning and managing this conference. As a former president of CASSA myself, he has really taken it to a new high in terms of his media campaign and the attempts really not just to promote the conference, but to promote sociology, to show its still relevance to Caribbean society and development. I want to thank him totally, and I look forward to my first conference in the Cayman Islands, my first visit. And thank you, Livingston.
Thank you very much.
To the team.
He's actually said what I intended to say, but I was going to be a little bit more colorful and loving.
Folks, we've reached the top of the hour. Don't forget to attend the conference as well if you possibly can. When we return from the 8 o'clock news, we will have the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Kenneth Bryan, in the studio. So don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you so very much, OC. And the time on Radio Cayman is now just about 8:01. And this time signal is brought to you by Foster's.
When you're on the go, the experienced team at Foster's Pharmacy are here to help. Drop off your prescription while you shop or WhatsApp us and we'll prepare it, ready for your arrival.
Whether you need prescription or over-the-counter medications, blood glucose testing, or advice on vitamins and supplements, we're here early in the morning to late at night. Both of our locations at our Camana Bay and Airport stores are open 7 a.m. a.m. to 9 p.m., Monday to Saturday.
For more info, visit fosters.ky/pharmacy. Foster's Pharmacy. Better health because we care.
Covering Little Cayman, Cayman Bride.
Cover me.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Police are investigating a series of fires believed to be arson. Shortly after 8:15 on Monday morning, emergency crews were sent to a car fire on Linwood Street in Georgetown. Fire service officers were able to put out the flames fast enough to make sure nobody was injured and no other property was damaged. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service has determined the Honda CR-V had been reported stolen. Then around 1 a.m. on Tuesday, fire and police were sent to another blaze, this time on Parkview Crescent in West Bay, where it was reported that 2 jet skis were on fire. The owner was able to extinguish the flames before fire service officers arrived, but, quote, other jet skis at the location received minor damage. Again, no injuries reported. Fire investigators say both blazes appear to have been deliberately set. It's a 4th week of creeping diesel prices. According to the Utility Regulation and Competition Office, self-service regular gas is $5.02, unchanged for the past month. The average price for premium is sitting at $5.51, but diesel has jumped another penny to $5.27 a gallon. According to OFREG, you can get the cheapest self-service regular gas at Brown's Industrial Park, where it's selling for $4.59 a gallon. That's actually 5 cents cheaper than it was last week. On the diesel side of things, refuel has the best option according to OFREG at $4.91 a gallon. That's up 4 cents since the last check on September 17th. Log on to offreg.ky for the full breakdown. It's time to celebrate local teachers. CIGTV's Travis Webster explains.
The Ministry of Education and Training is inviting the public to participate in Education Month 2025, beginning in October. This annual observance recognizes the important role of education and honors the contributions of educators and students. Key activities will include Thank a Teacher Day on Friday, October 3rd, where the public is encouraged to show appreciation for the dedication and service of our teachers. On Sunday, October 5th, will be World Teachers Day and the official opening of Education Month with a church service at Stake Bay Baptist Church in Cayman Brac at 11 a.m. For more details on these and upcoming events, visit the Ministry of Education's Instagram and Facebook pages.
And you're invited to a special music at the library tomorrow night. K-Musica is proud to present an evening of music with the talented young vocalists of the John Gray High School vocal program, with performances ranging from K-pop and jazz to Broadway and popular classics. The evening will also premiere original work by Aaron Pereira Jr. and Omari Reed, and will wrap up with the John Gray High School Chamber Choir performing a cappella, popular, and worship songs. Tickets are $25 at the door, or you can get the 2-for-1 special by purchasing tickets in advance online at eventbrite.com. Student tickets are only $10. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which takes us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller.
BBC News with Govinda Gill. A deal's been reached to offer a new HIV prevention drug to more than 100 poorer countries at much cheaper cost. From 2027, the injectable drug, lenacapavir, will be available for $40 a year. It's more than 99% effective. In a major medical breakthrough, doctors in London say they've successfully treated Huntington's disease for the first time. The genetic illness progressively kills brain cells. The new treatment is a gene therapy injected deep into the brain. The Kremlin has insisted Russia's economy is stable after Donald Trump said it was in big trouble. The US president's comments on Tuesday appeared to mark a hardening of his position on the war in Ukraine. He said Kyiv could win back all of its territory. Hospitals in Gaza say Israeli forces have killed more than 50 people since dawn. Israel's military is continuing to push deeper into Gaza City, which it calls the last stronghold of Hamas. Typhoon Ragasa has made landfall in southern China. In Guangdong province, about 370,000 people have been evacuated. The storms caused at least 17 deaths in Taiwan. The Danish Prime Minister's arrived in the autonomous territory of Greenland to apologise in person to the victims of a forced contraception programme. Thousands of Inuit women and girls were fitted with their intrauterine coils without their consent. The president of Malawi, Lazarus Chakwera, has accepted defeat in last week's presidential election. Peter Mutharika, who's 85, won the poll. BBC News.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
It's time to prepare for our most popular annual event, HomeFest at A.L. Thompson's. The huge Home Expo is in its 15th year and will see almost 100 reps from your favorite and new major brands. Attend HomeFest and you will get deep discounts, enjoy demos, receive gifts, win prizes, and learn about new and exciting products for your home. Let us welcome you to HomeFest on September 26th and 27th at A.L. Thompson's.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Edward Raib Arch, MBE, 1915-1980.
Pastor Raib was the son of James Heber Arch and his wife, Virginia Nee Thompson. He contributed greatly to the spiritual and educational development of the community of Georgetown through many years of devotion to the work of the Church of God and Truth for Youth School. He was a boat builder. As a young boy, he works on the gold field, and he designed and built the Neria, and a building contractor. He served for 9 years as deputy chairman of the Immigration Board. He and his wife, Laurel Valloni Nee-Bodden, had 7 children.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community, a traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way, positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
It's me again, that old gal Galawantin with Cayman Airways. Look here, I go in Tampa again, cause Tampa tickets are on sale and they're flying faster than fritters at a fish fry. I know one thing, I'm racking up all the Sir Turtle Rewards miles I can get for even more trips with my award-winning national airline, Siona Erectly.
Book by October 8th for travel through December 15th from just $293 CI round trip, including taxes and fees. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to catch your Tampa seats on sale now.
It's
It's a sizzling summer with J&. Money. You can win a luxury weekend getaway for two when you send or receive money from now until September 30, 2025. That's right. We're turning up the heat this summer with J&. Money. Visit www.jnmoneyonline.com to learn more about how to win. What are you waiting for? Send, win, relax this summer with J&. Money.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage, with tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
This summer, happiness is better when you share it. Coca-Cola invites you to share a Coke with someone special. Grab an ice-cold Coke and find a name. Maybe theirs, maybe yours, maybe a surprise. Because nothing says you matter like sharing a smile and a Coke. So who will you share a Coke with today? Find your name, find your friends, and share a Coke. Available now at stores island-wide.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Britcade, where people come first.
Hey folks, thanks for your patience. We'll be taking off very shortly. Should be wheels up in about 40 minutes. And due to a bumpy ride, snacks and beverage service has been suspended. AC has given us some trouble. Sorry folks. And Wi-Fi is out. And so is the entertainment. Yeah, I'm sorry about the smell, folks. We are aware.
I know.
Just one more quick note. We are going to have to deplane.
Come on!
We're like the plane ride that isn't a nightmare. CG Britcade. Good like that.
.5 right here on Radio Cayman 89.9. It's now time for another weather update. Brought to you today by Brit-K Insurance. The temperature is 87 degrees. It already feels like 104 degrees, but thank God we're going to get a little bit of shower today. So I'm looking forward to that. Humidity is standing at 83% and the wind direction is easterly. In a look at what's happening for today, expect mainly sunny skies becoming cloudier by the afternoon with a 40% chance of late afternoon showers and possible thunder. Temperatures are expected to rise near the low 90s with a heat index of 106 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds will be northeasterly at 5 to 10 knots and seas will be smooth with wave heights of less than 2 feet. Tonight, expect mainly clear skies with a 30% chance of showers and possible thunder, mainly across the sister islands. Temperatures will fall to the near low 80s and winds will be east to northeast at 5 to 10 knots and the seas will be smooth with wave heights of less than 2 feet. Sunset later today will be at 6:18 and a sunrise tomorrow morning at 6:15. And the outlook is for similar weather conditions through to Friday evening. So again, remember to walk with those umbrellas, especially this afternoon, just in case we get a little bit of downpour, all right? That is it for your weather update, brought to you today by Brit-K.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Britcade, where people come first.
When I first started going to Healthcare Pharmacy, it was because it was convenient. But over the years, I continued to shop there because I trusted them. One day I was picking up my prescription, and the pharmacist noticed an over-the-counter medication in my basket. She said, "I hope that's not yours. It will interact with your prescription." And I thought, wow, thank you. Trust is so important when it comes to your health. Healthcare Pharmacy, with 2 locations, Grand Harbor and Governors Square, where they care about my health.
Why is it important to vaccinate children against HPV? Because research shows that the best time to get the HPV vaccine is between the ages of 9 and 14, and it takes a single dose. The HPV vaccine is the best protection available against HPV-related cancers, which impacts boys and girls, men and women. Let's arm our nation against cancer, Cayman. Get the HPV vaccine today. For more information, contact the Public Health Department on 244-2648 or 244-2889.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Thank you so very much to Subway for sponsoring this traffic update as we let you know what's happening across our roads right here in Grand Cayman. I tell you, we need some cameras over there in Little Cayman and Cayman Brac so that we can, see what's happening over there as well. Working on it, okay? Working on it. All right, so let's take a quick look at some of our traffic hotspots right about now. As usual and expected at this time of morning, Crew Road is seeing steady but flowing traffic and going right around the airport runway. So if you are in that vicinity or heading there, expect a little bit of delay. It's not standstill traffic. It's actually moving, but moving slowly. All right? Also seeing a little bit of traffic, well, not a little bit, but bumper-to-bumper traffic coming from Huldah Avenue heading into the CNB roundabout. And thankfully, the traffic coming from the east on the east-west arterial road has cleared up a lot. So if you are heading from the east, you won't experience much delays as you head on down the east-west arterial road. But if you're coming from Agnes Way heading onto Crew Road, expect quite a bit of delay. That should clear up in the next 30 minutes or so. And if you're heading down Bobby Thompson Way towards the Smith Road roundabout, intermittent standstill traffic, all right? West Bay Road is looking pretty good. Smooth flowing traffic in both directions. And just about the same for Owen Roberts Drive, Edward Street, and Shedden Road. The Butterfield roundabout is still looking busy, with most of the traffic heading from the Esterly Tibbetts Highway into the roundabout. Stay safe on the roads. Make sure that you look out for pedestrians, look out for tourists, look out for children, look out for the elderly, look out for other drivers. Let's just take care of each other and be as courteous as we can, all right? A huge thank you to Subway for sponsoring this traffic update.
Get ready for something sweet, spicy, and totally crave-worthy. The hot honey chicken sandwich is here, and it's bringing the heat. We've taken our tender, juicy chicken and drenched it in bold hot honey sauce for the perfect balance of sweetness and spice. But hurry, this one's only here for a limited time. Hot honey chicken. Try it today before it's gone. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
For the Health of It, heard on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and repeated on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. Brought to you by UHealth International, University of Miami Health System. International patients go to UHealth International for consultations with renowned physicians, advanced treatment technologies, leading-edge medical therapies, and state-of-the-art surgical procedures. Whatever your particular reason for going to UHealth International, you will receive customized medical care delivered within a compassionate, multicultural setting. The care you need when you need it.
For the Record with ORRETT Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. MP, Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Kenneth Bryan, is on his way to the studio. Just got a message from him. He's pulling up in the parking lot, so he should be here anytime soon. Maybe, meanwhile, we will take the opportunity to talk about to give you the birthday shout-outs, all of those persons who are celebrating a birthday today. First of all, my better half, Grace, she's celebrating her birthday today. Want to wish her a happy birthday. And, of course, birthday greetings coming from her entire family as well. Miss Eleanor Terry McFarlane celebrating her birthday as well. Birthday greetings are coming from our friend Ivor Hart with lots of love. And her birthday is today. I believe on Monday I may have given her an early shout out. The information that I had at that time that it was on Tuesday, but it's actually today as well. So Miss Eleanor Terry McFarlane, who is here in the Cayman Islands visiting as well. I believe she may be leaving today as well. And of course, her husband, Delroy, is a very loyal listener to Radio Cayman as well. We have also been asked to share birthday greetings. Birthday greetings going out to Dwayne Ebanks, coming from parents Jewel and Lindsay, and siblings Shoni and Devon. Those birthday greetings also, again, we'll repeat those. Dwayne Ebanks coming from parents Jewel and Lindsay, and siblings Shoni and Devon. Okay, let's find the others as well. Here we go. Happy birthday to Benel Miller. Birthday greetings coming from dad, mom, sister, spouse, aunt, niece, and nephew as well. And to remind you that the For the Record birthday shoutouts brought to you by Coca-Cola, who are proud to support your birthday shoutouts. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands. You should accept no substitutes. Share a Coke with someone special. And he has just stepped into the studio, and first thing I'm going to ask him, any birthday shout-outs that you want to give out today? Anyone you know who's celebrating a birthday, you may want to check your Facebook account as well and see what it says, under birthdays. Good morning, sir. Welcome back to For the Record. And again, thank you, for conceding your slot this morning, because I know you wanted to, your plans were to come in early from 7:30, because you also wanted to talk about the Youth Parliament, as well. So, and that person that I'm talking to is none other than the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Kenneth Bryan.
Good morning, OC. It's a pleasure to be on here. I'm so sorry for my tardiness, but as you said, I wanted to give the lovely Miss Teresa Lewis Pitcairn the opportunity to speak about the topic with her guest.
Yeah, we had a good panel here this morning.
So happy to hear that. She's always so involved in our community in many different formats, so obviously giving leeway to her is very important. I'm here this morning to talk about a myriad of things, some about Parliament and some about the Youth Parliament, and also some things that have been happening in the community. And I want to have a little time to be able to speak on what some other topics have been coming up. But with that in mind, I want to take the first part of the show to speak about the Youth Parliament, because you know that the Parliament has a session every year where we invite young people between the ages of 14 and 21 to come on, to 15 and 18, my apologies, to come on down to the Parliament and participate in basically like a mock Parliament session. Gives us a good opportunity to see and feel and understand what the young people are thinking in respect to their community. Obviously, they hear a lot of stuff that they discuss in school with their peers, but even at home where they hear their parents talking about a myriad of different things. And as the chairperson of the Youth Parliament this year, we've already sent out our letters of invitation for registration to all the various schools, and that deadline is tomorrow. So we're hoping that all the schools have spoken to their various groups and find out which schools want to participate this year. Each school has an opportunity to send 2 kids, where they get to have an opportunity to understand how we do government side, opposition side, motions, legislation, the sergeant, the speaker, and all the rules and why we do it. It's a good opportunity to build young leaders. So,
and in the past, it has been well subscribed to, and you know, a lot of attention has been placed on it.
Yeah, because the kids have this no fear of putting their opinions out there, and they do it so in such a delicate way. Usually, the young people come in rather timid at first, and when they realize, you know, it's about putting in the work and the research and understanding your debate and your argument and your points for and against. And they get into the little bit of a spunk of you know, getting up of a point of order, and they can get spicy.
Right?
Yeah,
theatrics.
They can get really spunky. So I'm really excited again this year to have another cohort. By hopefully sometime next week we can say how many kids are going to be involved in it, and if there's any parents out there who want their children to be involved, you have this evening to talk to the kids and tell them when they go back to school, make sure they talk to their principals or their head of year and ask them about the registration opportunity to see if they can get involved. We're really excited about it. Mr. Connor, as you know, tomorrow is Finance Committee. And before we go to the break, I just want to quickly say Finance Committee is where the government comes back to Parliament and seeks extra funding or to rectify any funding discrepancies. So tomorrow, we haven't gotten the agenda from the government yet, and I must say that I'm not happy with the fact the government is not being proactive to give the opposition an update as to what the agenda is so we can prepare. Sometimes that's very political in nature. It causes a proper examination of what they're going to do to be ineffective. If you wait till last minute, there's not enough time, which is political games. I'm quite disappointed in that, especially when the government said that they wouldn't be playing those kinds of things. But, you know, words are usually thrown at by politicians quite often. So I'm hoping that before the end of the day, we know what the agenda is. But I do suspect that there is going to be some requests for supplementary funding for a number of agencies and departments, which has been underfunded and underbudgeted from even when we approved the budget back in 2023, late 2023. I am made to understand there's at least 4 ministries that's going to be coming for extra funding. We heard where the government has drawn down more borrowings, so we can get to understand what is happening there. I've also sent you some submissions of some questions that I intend to ask, but I won't be able to get that opportunity to ask them tomorrow because Finance Committee is different from Parliament. Finance Committee is chaired by the Minister for Finance, and Parliament is chaired by the Speaker. Different roles, different rules, but informational, none the same, because the line of questioning, there's no debate, but there's a number of line of questioning about the spending, what they're spending it on, and so forth. So it depends on which ministry comes up, and again, we don't know. Even though it's 24 hours away, we still don't know what they're coming with. We can only, when we find out whichever ministry it is and what the amounts are, ask the relevant questions there. But after the break, when I come back, I'll list the questions that I have for Parliament. And there's some reasons for those questions. I've already submitted, I think 13 so far, but I have 9 have been approved, so I'll speak to those 9 today.
And as far as the Finance Committee is concerned, the latitude that is allowed to members is much wider than the latitude allowed during question time in Parliament itself.
Correct, because conventionally when you're speaking about the money, which is the primary thing about legislation and government, is examining how they're handling the money, which is the taxpayers' funds. The latitude is given for a series of questions as opposed to a parliamentary question, which you get about 3 or 4 follow-ups, supplementaries that they will call them. You can be on a line item in Finance Committee for just for one subject area for like a whole hour, re-examining. Because when Finance Committee happens, it's quite like budget. The chief officer, the specialist who deals with that money in that area, get to ask the members of Parliament get to ask them serious questions to examine how the accountability and what is it for and all that stuff. So it's bound to be reasonably exciting and informative, particularly because we think that there's going to be at least 4 different ministries coming back for more money before the end of this year. So a lot of explanation to this $60 million deficit or no deficit or where are we at, because it's so confusing right now. You don't know who's telling the truth. One person is saying a deficit, the other person is saying it's not. Really, the public needs to know. So when we get back, we can examine some more of those questions.
Certainly. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. Don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
It's me again, that old Gala wantin' with Cayman Airways. Look here, I go in Tampa again, cause Tampa tickets are on sale and they're flying faster than fritters at a fish fry. I know one thing, I'm racking up all the Sir Turtle rewards miles I can get for even more trips with my award-winning national airline, Siona Erectly.
Book by October 8th for travel through December 15th from just $293 CI round trip, including taxes and fees. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to catch your Tampa seats on sale now.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite Band-Aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. Don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superheroes shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. For those of you who are just joining us, we have in the studio with us this morning the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Kenneth Bryan. He's going to cover a few things because he wants to open up the phone lines as early as possible. Meanwhile, if you have any questions or comments and you don't want to call in, please send them to our WhatsApp number. That number is 925-3261, and we will let you know when the phone lines have been open as well. Mr. Bryan, at some point in time, I'd like you to comment and, if possible, explain the press release that was issued yesterday by your party, PPM, entitled PPM Calls for Government to End Uncertainty and Publish a Clear Immigration Plan. And the word that is out on the street also is that, and I don't know if persons have seen the draft amendments, to our immigration law, but people are saying that what is going to be proposed is nothing near what was promised during the election campaign as well.
Well, OC, thank you for the opportunity to examine and talk about our press release on behalf of my party, the People's Progressive Movement. I think the way you termed that is exactly what our problem is. You don't know. First, this government has started, one of the first major things they did was extend the conventional process of having an SPS in the first 3 months, which is telling the country once you're elected within the first 3 months what you're doing, where you're going, where you're going to take the country. The first thing they did, they came and changed the legislation to extend that to a whole year. So you have a 4-year term and you take a half a year to tell the country where you're taking them. Big red flag. And then you speak to a number of hopeful or expected things to come that could be transformational of the country's labor market and immigration market, both separate but under the immigration regime. Because rights to become Caymanian eventually has a different effect than the labor effect on jobs and business and so forth, and opportunities for Caymanians to work. And with such a sensitive area, having so much ambiguity and such unclear direction as to where the country is going without... interesting that you say this draft that is floating around, because...
Well, I'm not floating... I'm not sure if it's floating around. I don't know who have seen it.
Well, I've heard the same thing you've heard.
The comments that's coming out.
Correct. I've heard the same thing, that what they have seen behind closed doors is nothing like what was being portrayed. And the simple fact is, this is too sensitive of a matter to have speculation at this point. And hence the reason for our statement where there needs to end this uncertainty and either release the draft or bring something to Parliament. Now, I didn't say earlier in the show that we will be having our next parliamentary session on the 15th of October. There is suggestions, we have not here officially, that that's when the SPS is, but there is enough information gathered to suggest what I just said. So sorry. So if the SPS comes on the 15th of October, which they're legally obligated to do so by the end of October, we speculate that that's when the SPS will be. You will have some sort of clearer direction because it sets out the policies of the government for the next 2 years. Now, as respect to the plan, an immigration plan, it's kind of difficult to speak to anything when you have not seen a draft proposal.
Yep.
Thank you so much. So hence the reason it's causing so much anxiety. Now, for example, obviously the labor market and whatever you do for work permits, the availability of work permits is going to affect the business market and job opportunities, because there's not enough Caymanians here to fill all jobs. But our top priority in the Progressives is the people of the Cayman Islands and the Caymanians who need jobs. So we support the government in their overall approach to prioritizing Caymanian opportunities. But we also do recognize the delicate balance and the very sensitive area of the equilibrium that's necessary to afford working persons for the economy, at the same time protecting Caymanian job opportunities.
Yes.
And Caymanians are first in our eyes. But it doesn't seem that balance is being struck well, and now the businesses are starting to get concerned, because you may throw out the baby with the bathwater at this point. So the only people who can answer or ease this anxiety is the government, with clear written documents, either by way of policy or draft legislation. So we are still supportive of the government's approach to put Caymanians first, and hopeful that that's what is going to happen. But there are whispers that they're not going to deliver, or they're backtracking, or we don't really know. And the fact that there's ambiguity and uncertainty, I think it's time for the government, but particularly the minister, to give a more clearer direction. And that's what our press release is calling for, because we don't want to create even further unrest when you're trying to support and protect the Caymanian employees for getting work. But if you screw up the economy, then there may not be any work to get if you don't address this on these. So that's what that is about. But we don't want to go too far in our criticisms, because you can't criticize something that isn't actually there. All we've heard so far is just comments on radio, comments on panel shows, couple of sound bites at speeches, and some suggestions in Parliament, but there's nothing concrete. And because of the very delicate element of immigration through the labor market and the rights to become Caymanian or status holders, we want to make sure we're fair in our criticism, but the ambiguity is just creating too much uncertainty. So it's time to be more clear in their message. So that's what that's about. My leader will be speaking more to that in the coming days. So I hope that persons can hear a clearer viewpoint. The press release, if you want to see the whole thing, we'll be releasing it in the various media houses for the full context of our press release. I'm not going to take out the time to read it out right now, but you'll be hearing more from it. It's just calling for that ease. As per our questions that I'll be submitting to Parliament, OC, which starts on the 15th, there's a number of things that are happening that is drawing concern for me, and I would like the ministers to be able to give us some idea of what's happening. And one of them first deals with the security of aircrafts. As you know, I was the Minister for Cayman Airways as well as the Minister for Airports Authority. And one of the things that bothered me the most for the 4 years is the natural bird habitat close to the airport. And one of the things that I had many challenges with was the balance between protecting the environment and safety of our people. And if you have traveled to Cayman Brac, you know that there is a small habitat close to the airport there. And there's also one at the west side of the airport here, right next to where we call the agricultural
grounds, the cricket pitch.
And at the end there's a lot of that bulrush. But bulrush is very good for cleanliness of the water and quality and so forth. But it's also a major habitat for many different species of birds. Now, as much as I want to protect the environment, I don't want one day, God forbid, there's a bird strike or bird goes into an engine and a plane goes down. And I'm asking the minister, is he still dealing with the same severe problem that I had, which was I could not get any permission whatsoever due to roadblocks put in the way in good effort to protect that area of environment. But there's only so much protecting the environment can go before safety comes a priority. And I suspect that he's going to get the same pushback that I got when I was Minister for the airport, because I believe that area where the bulrush is right at the end of the runway needs to be cleared so the birds do not habitate there.
But some remedial action had been taken on the other side of the road, on where the actual runway is, where they had filled that area in, as well.
Correct.
So that had been done.
Correct, on the inside of the fence.
Yeah.
But as you know, when planes are landing, they're planning coming over that area, or if they're taking off, they're going over the area. So they're in what you call connection zone, where chances are the birds could potentially hit.
And have the regulatory authorities, what concerns or what's their view, in relation to it? Like, for instance, the Cayman Islands Airport Authority, as well as the what's the other one? Civil Aviation Authority.
Well, I know that they have concerns because they've expressed their concerns to me when I was minister.
Okay.
But that delicate balance of ministries talking to each other and making the decision. At one point, the recommendation was to clear it out, period, so we don't have this risk. The DOE came back and said, can we just mediate it by cutting it down on a regular basis? It didn't stop the birds from being there. And I want to make sure that I'm saying today that I don't believe in it, because God forbid something happens. I hope those who have been trying to stop it will be reminded that they're the ones who were in the way and hurdles of safety, because I seriously think this is a major concern.
Now, are these migratory birds, or these they're resident in
resident birds?
Resident
birds. So I unfortunately I don't remember the names, but a lot you have Cayman Western ducks that are there. You got the beautiful white ones.
White ones, yeah.
So they're very beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I'm saddened to have to make that call or criticize the those birds being there compared to the safety, but my job is to protect the people. So I'm going to question the minister. Now, obviously, when I was minister, I tried to delicately deal with it in a diplomatic way with the relations. But now I'm the opposition member, and my job is to critique and examine. So I'm going to give the minister an opportunity to respond, to say, what is happening? What are you doing? Do you need some support from the opposition to help you in these efforts? Because I know that when the public realize what's at risk, maybe the government will get support from both ministries to do what is necessary. So moving on now to the next question. I have 9 of them, so I want to try to be as quickly as possible. Goes down to environment again. We good? Or we got to go?
I got to go to a break now, folks. The voice you're hearing, and I'm sure once you hear that voice, you know the person behind the voice as well. None other than the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Kenneth Bryan. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, the conversation with him will continue. So please stay tuned.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
When a hurricane hits, unexpected costs can add up fast. Homeowners are usually out of pocket for these costs to get supplies or make minor repairs. But with Cineco's parametric coverage, you get automatic payouts within 2 to 3 weeks after a Category 3 or stronger storm, whether or not you have damage. Available only through Cineco Homeowners Insurance. Call 949-8101 or visit Cineco.ky for a quote. That's Cineco.ky to get a quote today. Cineco, keeping Cayman covered.
At 35 miles per hour, you have 3 seconds to react. At 50 miles per hour, just 1.5 seconds. That split second you save speeding could be the split second that saves a life. Most fatal crashes in Cayman involve speeding. Slow down, because arriving late is better than never arriving at all. Smart or reckless. Your choice changes everything. Visit gov.ky/road safety.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget, our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorothy Drive, Industrial Park.
With ORRETT Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Kenneth Bryan. Back over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Before we went to the break, we were just dealing with a series of questions that will be submitted by myself to Parliament. We just dealt with the one in respect to the airports and the birds that that live close by and the risk associated with it. Mm-hmm. The next question was one of the questions that I think was triggered by yourself, which forced me to ask what the government policy is around it. But this is to the Honourable J.E. Banks. Can the Minister advise what's the government's plans for the old glass house, the government administration building, and the Central Police Station, which we know has been condemned? The reason for that is that there is a number of options available, particularly when we know that the government spends tens of millions of dollars per year on leasing across the Cayman Islands. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it leads to another question where I ask, how much money are we spending on lease agreements across the Cayman Islands, when in fact we do recognize that we need another government building, an opportunity for savings there. The other question, which I don't know what the answer is, but I think the public wants to know as well. There's a lot of memorial elements of the Glass House, the police station. I know that they have signed a lease for another location. Hopefully the minister will speak to that, because the government was in when the cabinet approval came in for where the new police location or main offices would be, which is right there on the corner of Eastern Avenue and Shedden Road by the old Flow building, because Flow is going to be relocating somewhere else. I don't think that is any news. That's been out for a while, but the transition, I don't know when they're going to move into that location or if they've done so already. The next question is to the Honorable Minister for Youth, Sports and Heritage. Has there been any grants to the bus drivers and bus wardens over the summer break? Some people are still employed by government while the other ones are private sector. We made sure in the last administration to give them a grant through the summer break, and I am made to understand that they were not given the same opportunity in this summer break, recognizing that that's 2 months through a period of time when kids are at home, families need to support them, that there's no income coming in. So I don't know if the government did so. If they didn't do so, I would be quite disappointed, recognizing it's been convention now for some years. The next question goes to the Minister of Health and Environment and Sustainability. Can the Honourable Minister say whether the government intends to amend the National Conservation Act 2013 in relation to the National Conservation Council? And if so, what changes and when? The reason I ask this, knowingly that it's going to be a very controversial topic, is because I see the disparity between the two groups that have come together, the Cayman Islands National Party and the Cayman Community Party, whereby in their manifestos and their campaigning throughout the election, one called for amendments to it, while I know the other, who the Premier is a part of, is not in support of any changes to that. I don't think it's any secret that the former Premier, Wayne Panton, is a strong advocate for the environment. And I think we all are very happy that we have a strong protector in that sense. But there is a perception nationally that there's a unequal balance in respect to the legislation that they have here. So much so that the party that he and his colleagues have joined with have also campaigned that it needs to be changed. So it's going to be interesting to see whether the government plans to make any amendments to it. So the minister needs to say so, because I think that her answer would offer up some insight as to where the country is going to be going with this. Does the National Party give up on this campaign promise to make amendments to it? Or will the TCCP have to give up on their stronghold position of no changes to it? So we'll see. I think they need to be transparent about it, because it was a very topical issue throughout the election. The next question is, can the Honourable Premier say whether the government intends to agree to a new electoral boundary layout within this term? If so, when? And if you remember, I called in with the great Dr. McField, Steve McField that is, and was on the show asking his opinion about what are they legally obligated to do. Now, I asked that question not because I didn't know what the answer was, but just to hear it from his voice, because sometimes when it comes from a biased voice like myself as a member of opposition, maybe it's not as powerful. So I was trying to get him to say, but ultimately, we're obligated to create a new boundary between the end of this term, because though the government, the last administration, did not accept the boundary, which was within the right, you're obligated to, if you don't accept it, do a new one immediately, because they're going to be a delay in the racial perspective in the various constituencies, and the burden of pressure will be heavier on some than the other, and we're all obligated to constitutionally to do the new boundaries every 8 years. Now it's been, I think we're now at year 10 since the last boundary was created. So one would assume between now and the next election, a new boundary layout will have to be done, or the government can go back and say they accept the last one, which was 2 options. Either way, I think that whatever decision the government is going to do, because the government has the numbers, I think it needs to be done early. And matter of fact, I do recall the Premier saying that if there's any changes, do it early, do it quick, because people need to get adjusted to whatever those new boundaries would be. Get to know who your MP is and so forth, because you don't want to spring that on people right before an election. So I think that the work that would be needed to confirm what the boundary layout would be, whether there's going to be a new member of parliament or stay the same and just redo the numbers just to make it more equal, do that early, because the people need to be adjusted before an election. Mm-hmm. The next question is to the Honorable Premier again. Can the Premier say if the government intends to implement any of the recommendations in the Domestic Observer's Mission Final Report by the 2025 Domestic Observers, mm-hmm. and if so, which ones?
Why just the domestic observers? Because we did have the regional CPA observers also make recommendations.
Because I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. And sometimes you ask a question because you have a game plan in mind, and I don't want to let up my game plan yet.
Okay.
But I'll leave it like this. The reason for me focusing on domestic observers is because I respect my own people mm-hmm. more than I respect other outside observers. And I think the local observers through the election has a better grasp on what actually happens here, what they think needs to be amended. So I'm more focused on our own people mm-hmm. rather than some people coming outside.
And there may be some things that are common
amongst them.
Amongst the 2 reports, and then there's some that may have been highlighted more in one than in the other. Or
exactly.
Not at all. Yeah.
But to add to that, there's also some things that the outside observers have suggested, which is, in my humble opinion, ludicrous, mm-hmm. and somewhat felt a bit of insult to our people. In the Cayman Islands, suggesting things like people who were resident are being allowed to vote and all that. So I'm not even going to go down that road. I just want to hear from my people locally. I'm not going to entertain that. But if the government plans to do something about that and expand the answer to the question, that'd be great. The public needs to know where they are going. And at the end of the day, that's what I'm trying to solicit through these lines of questioning, because the truth is, without them saying anything, we don't even know where the country is going. And it's going to be half a year by the end of October. And it's quite disturbing to know that we had to wait a half a year before we know where the country is going. But, the government is the government. They have the numbers. Let's see where we're going. The next question is, again, to the Honorable J.E. Banks. Can the Honorable Minister say, that's a bird strike one. I dealt with that one already. Another one to the same minister. Can the Honorable Minister say if the bus stop on the corner of Eastern Avenue and Shedden Road is considered a designated bus depot? Now, this one is specific to my constituency. I was also the Minister of Transport for about a year in the last administration before it was transferred to the Honorable Minister, who is still the Minister of Transport, Honorable J.E. Banks. There is seeming to be a habit to all the buses to stop and collect passengers at that corner. And I think from a traffic perspective and a road safety perspective, it's probably the most dangerous thing to do. And I know, as far as my memory serves me, it is not a depot. So I'm giving the minister the opportunity to opine on what the plan is. I've had so many complaints from my constituents in Georgetown Central about the fear of accident, fear of a car being hitting somebody. And I don't want to show my hand too much yet, but I think the minister will be able to opine on that when he answers and the supplementary comes along. The next question goes to, again, the Minister, J.E. Banks. Can the Honourable Minister say what is the current total value of property leases per month and or per year that the government is under contract with the private sector? And this goes back to my previous question about the government building, because the answer to that will give you a true idea of how much money we spend in rent when we could be addressing the administration building concern and potentially saving millions of dollars. But we'll elaborate further on that when we get back.
Folks, top of the hour, our headline news at 9 o'clock. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Yesterday, today,
always and forever.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
K Musica is hosting Music at the Library tomorrow night at 6 p.m., an evening of music with talented young vocalists of the John Gray High School vocal program. For tickets, you can head to eventbrite.com. In international news, Typhoon Ragasa has made landfall in China, where around 2 million people have been evacuated. At least 17 people have died in Taiwan after a lake burst, causing severe flooding in the east. Ragasa has weakened from super to severe typhoon status, but remains highly destructive, with winds topping 150 miles per hour. Equivalent to a Category 5 hurricane, Ragasa is the world's strongest storm this year and has been roaring over the South China Sea for days. The typhoon did not make landfall in Hong Kong, but left 90 people injured after it skirted the coastline, unleashing powerful winds and heavy rain. At least 2 detainees are among the victims of a shooting at an Immigration and Customs Enforcement field office in Dallas this morning, according to 2 law enforcement officials with knowledge of the incident. The acting ICE director said on CNN earlier today 3 people were shot, all of whom were taken to the hospital. He did not specify who the 3 people were. ICE employees, civilians, and immigrant detainees are generally among those at the facility. Those are your headlines. I'm Carsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
For the Record with ORRETT Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We will soon be opening up the phone lines for people who want to call in. Meanwhile, I do have a WhatsApp message that I will share. This person says, good morning to you and your panel. Many believe that several years of the PPM's loose immigration policy got us into this mess. Now the PPM want to pop up as saviors, People's memory, not so short. PPM failed to enforce our existing laws. Why should we turn to them for immigration solutions or advice now? The country has voted for new leadership, and so far this government has taken immigration as a priority. And Minister Miles seems to be taking a strong and balanced approach. The PPM would do well to support these policies. And the next comment was, why should we pay bus wardens over summer if they are not working during those months? Don't the bus wardens work for private bus companies and get paid by those companies? Government doesn't have contracts directly with the wardens and shouldn't be paying them during the months when they don't work for the school. Comment, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Corner. And thank the author of the questions. It's always good to get different viewpoints of what the public think, because our job is to act on their behalf. And if somebody does think those things, it's our obligation to respond to them.
Sure.
Let's deal with the last one first. I don't agree with the perspective that just because they're not working during that week, those summer periods, that they shouldn't be paid. It's a profession that obligates for them to work on that schedule or when the kids are in. And if you were to take that line of thinking, then we wouldn't pay the teachers either. And the teachers get paid over the summer period. So I think a bus warden is just as important as a teacher. They take care of our children, particularly when they're less disciplined, if I would say that, or so they have more to deal with. And not all persons who, particularly the wardens don't have any other contract with bus companies. Maybe some of the bus drivers, I'm not aware, but we do still have some of them do get paid over the summer because they're still on the contract with government. So you can't do it for some without doing it for others. Hence the reason for government after government considering giving them a stipend through the summer break.
Okay.
But that's my viewpoint there. As per the other question about supporting the now government's policies and the minister, unfortunately, I can't support something I'm not aware of. What we've heard so far is comments and sound bites. I want to support a policy, but please tell me what the policy is, because I'm not going to, and we in the Progressive cannot comment or critique or support without specifics because of the sensitivity of immigration to the labor market and to becoming Caymanian and longevity in the country without knowing specifically what policy it is. For example, one of the suggestions were that you have to be married to a Caymanian for 22 years before you get status. I'm not sure if their government is going to bring that forward. I think it was a heated thought or viewpoint that I don't think the whole government is in support of. So I don't want to be overly critical, but what is happening is without answers to specifics, people are getting anxious because some of the rhetoric, and I say rhetoric because it's not legislation or policy or draft thus far, is that it's getting scary because, hold on. One thing I want to advise, and I want to say this to the Honorable Minister with all levels of respect, please take this in good spirit. I've watched carefully. I am the Shadow Minister for Immigration and Labour for Mr. Michael Miles. And every time he comes on the show, there's an element of, if you don't like it, you can get on a plane and leave. In the emotional component, the heat of things, to protect your people, I know where the spirit comes from. I was quite similar in that respect, and I'm not suggesting I'm any better than him. But I do have 2 terms as an MP under my belt, and I've learned to what Sir Alden McLaughlin would say, take your time, control your emotions, and respect to your delivery. That you can't be heated that much too quickly. Every time you come on the show, he ends with, if you don't like it, get on the plane and leave. Or if you don't like it, you're not going to be able to have no business, shut your business down and leave. It's creating an environment, a feel, where it's us versus them kind of feel. And that's not what we want. Rather than coming from, it's like the pendulum swing, We had it over to the right, and the government is trying to force it all the way back over to the left. And what we need is something in the middle. Now, granted, we do believe there needs to be some changes, but if you're not careful with your tone and your delivery, you can cause anxiety and reactions. And I dare say, it may sound good to say, well, if I don't like it here, get on the plane and leave, until I actually get on the plane and leave, and then there's no jobs for our people. So some friendly advice, and I've said this before on your show. Mr. Michael Miles is a Georgetowner like myself. We come from very, very similar backgrounds, very similar. And a lot of people don't even know this, but I'll share a very personal story today. Mr. Michael Miles was actually my social worker when I was a kid. For those who know my backstory, I went to the Cayman Islands Marine Institute, which was a reformatory school for boys that had trouble, and he was my social worker. So he was an important part of my life when I was a kid. So I want to see him succeed. I just want to make sure that he, in his efforts to make the changes that he's planning to make in good spirit for the Cayman people, don't do so in a way that may ultimately throw the baby out with the bathwash. That's all I'm suggesting, and that's what the progressives is suggesting, because I think all government members, all elected members, all campaigned on immigration reform. So we recognize there needs to be some reform. What you do and how you do it is two different things. So I'm going to leave that there, and that's my answer to that. As per why the PPM policies in the past, no government will ever be perfect. Neither will this one. Governments in the past will be able to look back with and say, boy, I could have done that better. I could have done this better. I'm certain Sir Alden McLaughlin would look back and say, boy, if I had a chance to do it again, I'll do this differently. Or the Honourable Kirk Tibbetts, or the Honourable McKeeva Bush, or Honourable Truman Bodden, or Linford Pearson. I think that what I'm here to do is not dwell in the past and the past mistakes, but learn from what we did make mistakes and improve them. So the progressives have admitted that maybe we can tighten this area up, and hence we've said so in our manifesto. But I would clearly say that when complicated matters come up, the progressives have the best track record of delivering them, from constitutional reform to immigration reform to pandemics to hurricane recovery. They have a track record of being able to deliver stability through times of uncertainty. And I think this immigration transition that we need to get to fit today's modern economy and today's immigration feel and protection of Caymanians, the progressives would have been a more stable government. But the people have chosen, and we're not going to dwell on that. We're going to do our job as opposition and help support where necessary, but hold accountable where necessary. So,
okay, have enough time for one more question.
Yes, and then I can.
This person says, prior to the election, there was quite a number of people discussing the possibility of a national vote. Mr. Bryan called in and said that he would bring it as a motion when Parliament resumes. Can you check and see if it is still his intention?
Yeah, I have no problem. One thing about debates, I love them because it filters out the viewpoint of the masses. I think it's something worthy of asking. I think there actually is some comments by the now Premier talking about this, and obviously in order to do that, he suggested that it would have to go to referendum. But I think there's enough discussions and comments from the public across the island, West Bay, Georgetown, all the districts in Grand Cayman and Kimbrack and Little Cayman, that they're not certain that moving from multi-member to single member was the savior to everything. It came with its own disadvantages, and now it's seeming to be a growing sentiment of maybe a national vote would be better. And I think that they call me the referendum man, and I'm quite happy to carry that badge, because that's the best way to get the people's feel. Go out and educate the public between what we currently have, the benefits, the pros and the cons, compared to a national vote, pros and cons. And those who can convince the masses, maybe there may be enough people who go, you know what, I'd rather a national vote where I can vote for everybody. At least you would know that persons are not winning by such small numbers. I mean, if you think about it, I think there is a minister right now that got somewhat 210 votes. And when you put that in perspective, it makes you go, maybe we should have a national vote. And I'm not suggesting that by having a small amount that you don't have a voice, because that's our system that we currently have. But I think people would be more comfortable knowing that the people that are elected have a larger demand of support throughout the country. And that was one of the benefits that a national vote would bring. But I'm not adamant that it has to be that. I'm definitely open for discussion, and I think the country wants a discussion. So the motion would be more so whether the government would consider having a referendum on not only a national vote, but potentially any other kind of systems of voting, because there seems to be not as strong support for single member as they used to. So many Georgetowners that I am aware of say, boy, they wish they had the old system where there wasn't only one person they can call. Because back in the day, you can call more than one person. Now, obviously, that wasn't great for Northside and East End, Kimmerbrook, and so forth, where there were only one person that they can call. But it's like, take away the advantage for West Bay, Georgetown, Borden Town, because East End, Northside, and Kimmerbrook wasn't getting the same advantage that we had. So there's room for discussion. But before we, oh my God, we got to go to break.
Yep,
I wanted to do that last parliamentary question before we go. Is that possible?
Go right ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So the last question was about the Donald Trump tariffs, which came into effect about a month and a half ago, on trade, which I think I've heard enough from some businesses in the community and persons who import their own goods for their households and so forth, that the tariffs has had some effect, whether it's delay in shipment or higher cost in shipment or just some logistics problems. I've asked the Minister, the Honorable Nicholas DaCosta, to tell us whether they have analyzed any effects, whether there's some in the positive or some in the negative, and if so, how they're dealing with those effects. Obviously, if they're negative, they want to try to mitigate them, and if they're in the positives, tell us how and show the benefit for the country. So that's the last question. I have some other ones, but they haven't been fully approved yet, so I'll wait till the speaker does so.
Excellent. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. Do we open up the phone lines? The phone lines will be open, and I will remind you of the numbers as soon as we return from this commercial break. Please stay tuned.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite Band-Aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. But don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superhero shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
It's a sizzling summer with J&. Money. You can win a luxury weekend getaway for two when you send or receive money from now until September 30, 2025. That's right. We're turning up the heat this summer with J&. Money. Visit www.jnmoneyonline.com to learn more about how to win. What are you waiting for? Send, win, relax this summer with J&. Money.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market. It's me again, that old Gala wantin' with Cayman Airways. Looky ya, I go in Tampa again, cause Tampa tickets are on sale and they're flying faster than fritters at a fish fry. I know one thing, I'm racking up all the Sir Turtle rewards miles I can get for even more trips with my award-winning national airline, Siona Erectly.
Book by October 8th for travel through December 15th from just $293 CI round trip, including taxes and fees. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to catch your Tampa seats on sale now.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
For the Record with ORRETT Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. So our phone lines, we have a toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That is 1-800-534-8255. Also 949-8037, 949-6990. Those two are not toll-free. We also have a WhatsApp number, 925-3261. We can only accommodate one caller at a time on that. We do have a caller on hold. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Austin. Good morning to the Honorable.
Good morning. Good morning.
Who else were you expecting?
Morning, big brother.
Yeah, I heard you made reference about throwing out the baby with the bath water.
Mm-hmm.
I think you made a reference to whoever that might have newly come in or into the island.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you to know that us, the generation of Caymanians, I think most of us have been thrown out with the bath water. Okay, so just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Okay. My activities early in the mornings bring me across something that is very concerning. It's the public beach. Is that, I don't know if you're aware, but every jerk pan on the island, I think, ends up down there whenever there's a cruise ship landing. And they're always stored there. They make chef tents. There are a whole bunch of activities going on there that I don't think is the tourist experience that I hear you guys always making reference to. So if you all haven't seen it, I would suggest that some of you go down there and see the activities that happens over there. That is not the tourist experience that I'm thinking about. I don't think you will get any return tourists on the cruise ship because of those activities. So I would suggest that you, I don't know if you're aware of it, but I would suggest you go down there for yourself and have a look whenever there's a cruise ship in. Also, I want to ask you, I might be putting you on the spot, but I am still optimistic concerning the new administration, the new government. I'm just asking you how optimistic you are concerning what you have seen so far.
Okay, thank you so much, Lord Graham, for the questions. I would say I am hopeful, not optimistic. And the difference between hopeful and optimistic, one is there's a level of skepticism there, wishful thinking, while the optimism is, being an optimist is one that, constantly thinks in the positive. And the reason why I've changed from optimistic to hopeful is because they haven't given me enough signs to feel optimistic. You hear earlier in the show the rumblings of not clear in their positions. We're not going to get, possibly not going to get what we thought we were. Everybody knows how strong I felt about immigration. But I don't think they're doing a very good job being clear with that, because the first thing they need to do is define that there's two parts to immigration that is fundamental. One is the labor market, and the other is having the right to be a part of this land and have the benefits of it. And I don't think they have separated the two, and they're intermingling both. So the lack in clarity is just creating the opposite. So granted, there is a lot of people who love the strong demand to say we're protecting Caymanians, And no matter what, the Caymanians got to get jobs now. And if I don't like it, leave. That may be feel good for some people. But as a leader, I have to recognize that you still have a working economy that needs to function. So there's nothing wrong with delivering protection to our people, and we have to do that. That's where he has full support from us. But I think that to appease some extreme views, he's taking some other viewpoints or comments that you go, hold on, what are you saying here? Because I support you. I want to protect Caymanians, but I don't know if that makes sense there or so forth. And then you go, well, how do I support you when there's ambiguity in what you're saying and there's no clear, defined policy which I can support? So rather than waiting for that clear, defined policy to support it in words in black and white, in sentence structure and legislation or regulation, I'm now left with comments going, is he going to fully go through with that? Or what's the situation? So I'm reserved, and that's why I say I'm hopeful, not optimistic, because I'm still waiting to see that does deliver a balanced approach to protection and opportunity for Caymanians' livelihoods through work, while at the same time fostering a strong economy upon which many Caymanian business owners thrive. If we don't have a strong middle class, there's nobody there to offer the jobs. So I'm hopeful. That's still not saying I don't think this government is going to do anything well, particularly when it comes to this area. I am hopeful, but they need to step up and they need to be more clear about it. So that's my answer to that. In respect to the public beach, the Honorable now Deputy Premier and Minister for Tourism spoke very heavily and impactfully about the tourism product. Matter of fact, I think everybody will remember the comment by him saying he thinks that the tourism product is garbage. I remember his party making videos about the public beach and about how filthy it was and what they were going to do and what they haven't done. Well, they're in power now. I will wait to see, and I'm going to hold my criticisms, because if I criticize now, they're going to say, oh, well, you're only saying that because you lost and you got to give the government a chance. Well, we're almost a half year in, still don't know where we're going with it, still haven't seen any changes. You're still seeing what you're seeing at Public Beach. So I'm going to wait till their policy statement is released, and then we'll get down to the nitty-gritty. For now, I am hopeful that he makes the changes that he promised that he would. So I'll leave that there.
Okay, let's grab another caller. Do we have another caller on hold, Ms. B? Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, morning, morning, Mr. Brian.
Hey, morning,
Good morning, Mr. Elvis. My favorite
birthday. Happy belated birthday to you. We gave you a shout out on the radio.
All right, thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, I said now, the public beach. Mm-hmm. I was, no, Elvis just from the key were calling a spade. It started to go down when Mikiwa Bush was tourist minister. Under the 8 years of the PPM, it kept slipping and sliding. That they gave their concessions to start there. And Minister Brian, under your 4 years, it went way deeper, and you know that. So don't go blaming on Peanut. Peanut only been there 3 months, and hopefully he will have some God to go down and say, listen, this is for the people of the Cayman Islands. The Cayman Island government doing that. It was given by the Rotary Club of the Cayman Islands for the people. And the government just letting people take it away, business people take it away. And it's a shame. It's a shame, and I don't care who in charge, but I know how it started. Because there has to be a beginning. And hopefully there can be an ending. Now, that's the deal with that.
Yes, sir.
Now, the immigration thing. I listened to Minister Miles, right? And let me tell you something. Mr. Brian and Mr. O.C., I do not want to know it. But you go around asking Abid Caymanian, it feels like a cloud lift off when you hear this man talking. Because listen, man, you know, O.C. know, Caymanians know, that there are companies in this country that got startups grant people. They form their own business, and they're not hiring one Caymanian. They're hiring in nationality, straight, left, right and center. So it's not, and know what about the big financial thing that they're leaving? They ain't going nowhere. That's out. You could tell them, and they ain't leaving nowhere. They're not going anywhere. All they can do is give them more scholarship to get them on so they can stay here and make billions of dollars every year. That happens to be a fact. Now, when Minister Miles said, you tell me if this not looking out for your people, he said, if you want to get government contracts, the more came on you can show that you stand a better chance of getting it. Ain't that a good thing for the...
It's 100%. You're 100% right. That's very good. And we support that. We support that.
Right. No. Well, I hear you talking this morning like the man that run people out there. Huh? The man said you don't want to do business hard. Listen, Brian, I don't know about your yard, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, when you come in Elvis, Jeffrey McKeever yard, if you don't like the rule that I have here, you know what Luan used to say, God rest his soul? But if you don't like my apple, don't shake the tree. You come here, you do what you're supposed to do. Huh? You don't see what happening all over the world. But, and another thing, tell me something, you know, Mr. O.C. and Mr. Brian, it's only when people players get broken into and then I'll put police tell you, oh, you should put up cameras. You put up cameras, okay? Now tell me something now. During the pandemic, the doctors say you had to wear a mask if you want to come out. The law. The only how you are afforded the privilege to corrupt your face in public is for medical reasons.
Yes.
No, why is 90% of the workers that they're not Caymanians that are here, all you can see is the glass, you don't know who they are. So if one of them come in your store and do something, you don't know who they come. I don't know what they are.
Mr. Elvis, I want to just interrupt you 1 minute there because I think there's one positive thing about this conversation. Obviously many positive things, but you'll be happy to know that I plan to bring a motion about that because I agree with you. The pandemic is over and this whole wearing of masks for no given reason, and I'm talking about full cover, the only thing you look like a ninja because the only thing you can see is their eyes, is a security concern. Because as a shop owner or a business place, if you saw somebody coming towards you like that before the pandemic, you would start to prepare yourself for something illegal about to happen. You could lock your doors. You can, get your safety protection, whether that's, I'm not even going to say something that's illegal for you to protect yourself, but you'd have preemptive time. When somebody's walking into a shop now fully masked up like that, you don't know if they're just a regular customer or a robber. And that needs to, now, granted, I respect the fact that it's also sunscreen protection for construction workers. But it needs to be a rule that only on job sites can you wear that. And when you leave the job site, you cannot have it in open public. So I think that we're in the same trend in respect to that, and I know the police would support this, but we need to make some changes to that because people are getting concerned. There's so many people who have mentioned it to me, and I hope that the government may make the changes without even a motion coming to Parliament.
Caller, very quickly, we have to go to a commercial break. Right?
You see, this what happened to our politician, We always put too much water in the lemonade, they're not going to flavor. Sunscreen, tell me something. Mr. Brian, have you ever owned a construction company?
No, I haven't, but I've worked on many construction sites.
I laid out Guinness Mahon building in 1979, and I just stopped working construction about 5 years now. And the same sun that I was working on from 79 is the same sun that's shining now. If you fail, you can't take the sun. Put some sunscreen that says sunscreen. Rub that and put on a hat. You walk in buck like them Muslim or something. And you can look up in the law. It is against the law. The police can stop them right now and say, take it off. It's against the law.
Caller, thank you. Thank you very much, caller.
Mr. Elvis.
Going to a commercial break. Any callers on hold? We will take those calls as soon as we return. Please stay tuned.
It's a sizzling summer with Jan Money. You can win a luxury weekend getaway for two when you send or receive money from now until September 30, 2025. That's right. We're turning up the heat this summer with Jan Money. Visit www.janmoneyonline.com to learn more about how to win. What are you waiting for? Send, win, relax this summer with Jan Money.
It's me again, that old Gala wantin' with Cayman Airways. Look here, I go in Tampa again, cause Tampa tickets are on sale and they're flying faster than fritters at a fish fry. I know one thing, I'm racking up all the Sir Turtle rewards miles I can get for even more trips with my award-winning national airline, Siona Erectly.
Book by October 8th for travel through December 15th from just $293 CI round trip, including taxes and fees. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to catch your Tampa seats on sale now.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite Band-Aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. Don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superheroes shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
Storms bring wind, rain, and unexpected costs to buy supplies, secure your home, or make minor repairs. Incidental expenses not covered by insurance. Until now, with Cineco's parametric coverage, you get automatic payouts within 2 to 3 weeks of a Category 3 or stronger hurricane, whether or not you have damage. Available only through Cineco's homeowners insurance. Visit Cineco.ky to get a quote today. Cineco, keeping Cayman covered.
For the Record with ORRETT Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Honorable Kenneth Bryan, Deputy Leader of the Opposition in our Parliament. Have another WhatsApp message comment here, and I will read it as it is. Sometimes I try to paraphrase some things. Some I don't, and I know that you have broad shoulders and you will take things the way they are. You know, there are some of my guests that I will sort of like paraphrase it to put it in, in more acceptable
words
tone. You know, some of our listeners and our writers, some can be circumspect in terms of the way that they put things, and there are others who may not want to be diplomatic in the way they say things. And so I'm going to read this one. This person says, "Good morning, Mr. O.C. Kenneth talking about Michael Miles telling people about if you don't like it, you can leave. I wonder if Kenneth's memory is that short when he was saying the same thing to people." And I believe you did refer to the fact in terms of your, maturity and what you've learned, since then. But I'll let you answer that as well. It says, "PPM, who got us into this mess we in today by changing the immigration law in 2023, and we don't want you back in power. Kenneth, you should be working full-time for the people of the Cayman Islands and not trying to sell more land to foreigners to secure PR points." And of course, they didn't hear you. Obviously, well, I'm not sure if they heard you or not explain why you decided to do what you did, and you hadn't really fully committed at that point in time to it. So again, you'll get an opportunity to answer that. The person goes on to say, "Finally, we hired you full-time for your MP position and not part-time. We need full-time representatives, not sales first. About the balance of the time, I will be a representative, for the people."
That's fine. That's one person's viewpoint. I have to respect their freedom to have their view, and I don't agree with it. I can sit here and counteract that argument about whether I'm full-time or not in respect to my people. I know the people of Georgetown Central know that, and they need me, I'm there for them. I'm also not practicing as real estate, and it's, I guess Caymanians don't sell their land or buy land either. I don't know why they think this about expats and for brownie points, but you can just hear that there's a lot of politics in those comments. I'll accept one thing, that I was just as passionate as Michael Miles in respect to some things that I've said in the past in my earlier term when I first got elected. But I do recognize that it created an environment that was not necessarily conducive for a harmonious environment upon which we're trying to create. We're all in this together. Do I think there needs to be an assertive hand by the minister? Yes, strong hand, but strong in action, not strong in words, because the words create an environment. That's the thing I'm trying to get at. And the words and the actions we've yet to see. And why I say that is I haven't seen the policy, I haven't seen the regulation, I haven't seen the legislation. I know today may sound, for those who don't support the progressives or myself, as me beating on the minister or the government. Naturally, it will feel that way when you support them. But I want you to potentially try to look through a different lens of one of constructive criticism and merely just that. The truth is we are aligned with one thing. We want to make sure to protect Caymanian opportunities for jobs, and we want a strong economy for all. Because we all win in that respect. And we also want to protect the right to be Caymanian because it comes with other consequences. And we all support that. Again, not what you do, but how you do it may end the circumstances differently. So again, I am hopeful and I support the government in those endeavors. Let's just be mindful that people are watching and people are affected on the way we deliver this. And it could affect the outcome of what we get or the residual feeling within the community when we're trying to get there. I first said in order to get somewhere, you need to decide where you're trying to get to. What does Cayman look like 10 years from now? What does it look like for opportunities by way of jobs? What does it look like by way of Caymanian status levels or Caymanians by birth? What does it look like for our business community? What does our economy look like? Only can you sell me the picture of the destination that I can agree with you that the changes you're making today or tomorrow will affect you to get to the destination. I've yet to hear the government say to me, this is where we're trying to get to. Paint the picture, I see it, and then you say to me, okay, that's where we're going, and here's the car we're going to drive, here's the road we're going to take, and this is how long it's going to take us to get there. And I go, okay, well, I see what you mean there. All right, cool. I'm on board. Let's travel together. There just needs to be more clarity. I know that some people are not going to see it the same way we do, but trust me, we're trying to get to the same place.
One of our listeners wrote and said, I read the article in the Compass about proposed immigration changes. It was very disappointing to read that the majority of the companies who were complaining were owned by our own Caymanians.
See, this is my point. That solidifies some of the arguments that we're making is that when we think about the business community, most people think expat.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Remember, the law says that for every company in this country, and unless you have a LLC, LCCL, has to be 60% owned by a Caymanian. So while we rightfully should fight for the employees as well, because we don't have a labor union here, so nobody's being their voice. So I have to support the minister's strength in protecting the working class. But don't throw out the baby with the bathwash, because the businesses that you think sometimes you're fighting against, our Caymanians own them as well. And now they're not going to be as vocal as some people who call in the show and say, oh my God, you can't get rid of them, this, that. Because they're going to probably take a more diplomatic approach and go through the proper channels, speaking through ministry level and through the department level and say, listen, I have a right to my business opportunities and so forth, while at the same time balancing the right to employment opportunities for Caymanians. But they're both beneficial to our economy and our way of life. There's no way of getting around that. The truth of the matter is there is not enough Caymanians in this country to fill the jobs that we have.
That's the reality.
That's the reality. So how extreme you go with this, you can cause a residual mess. That's all we're saying. So just tone it back one little bit. Deliver it through thoughtful process and thoughtful policy and legislative reform that we can see that the feedback can be given back to the government through feedback from the employee and the employer and the business community to say, okay, maybe that mightn't work. But just comments that create fear and anxiety, I personally do not think it's going to be healthy and helpful for what we're trying to do. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And one of the definitions of politics is politics being the art of compromise. You have to be able to compromise. Yes, sometimes I also think, the other day I was thinking when I read that Compass article and, make warnings about, businesses and, companies moving and things of that nature. And I said to myself, and I believe I may have even said it publicly here on the radio, maybe Cayman does need a reset. They want to leave, let's leave. And we got an opportunity to do some of the things all over again. And we would have learned from experience what to do and what not to do if we were given that opportunity to have a reset. That's taken my mind to the extreme. And we wouldn't want to see that happen, but,
Yeah, but you see, that's the thing that thought right there that you just said, some people may agree with you, but that world is a very difficult world for some, because if some were to reset means no job. Reset could potentially mean loss of there's so many negatives that I don't think I even want to open up on this,
okay,
on this
all
show.
Right.
But
let's go to our last commercial break then, and I believe we do have a caller on hold as well. Please stay tuned. Oh, and one of our listeners wanted to know as well whether or not there's any limit to the number of questions each individual member of Parliament is able to ask during a session. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
When a hurricane hits, unexpected costs can add up fast. Homeowners are usually out of pocket for these costs to get supplies or make minor repairs. But with Cineco's parametric coverage, you get automatic payouts within 2 to 3 weeks after a Category 3 or stronger storm, whether or not you have damage. Available only through Cineco Homeowners Insurance. Call 949-8101 or visit cineco.ky for a quote. That's cineco.ky to get a quote today. Cineco, keeping Cayman covered.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you. From cookware to stereos, from power tools to plumbing supplies. Yeah, we got the best goods with the best price and a service to make you smile. Kirk
with ORRETT Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're in the last 10 minutes of the show this morning as well. We have a caller on hold. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Oh, see, Connor?
Uh-huh.
I like your thinking about the resetting. I love that. And to the deputy leader there, I think he's opposing I don't know when he called it, rhetoric of Minister Miles about if you don't like, leave. And then he made reference to the fact, which is a fact, that we don't have enough Caymanians to fill all the jobs we have. So if we don't have enough Caymanians to fill the jobs we have, why are ever successful government are giving outsiders on concession to come in and invest and create more jobs that we don't have Caymanians to fill the jobs? Who are we creating then these jobs for?
Agree with that.
Teacher Roy said, who are we developing for? If we continue giving people concession to develop these entities or whatever they are, to create, some people are looking for 500 work permit additional to the traffic on the road. You know, everyone them to have a car, you know? And then it costing us $15 million to build 1 mile of road, you know?
I agree with you there.
Compare that with what we collect from those little work permits and stuff, and how much we're spending on putting in another lane and another lane and another. We got in so many lanes now that there's nowhere else to put in a lane, because you're not going to put in no more lanes in Linford Pearson, right? Whether you go on top of somebody's house. So why are we creating more jobs when you just told me that we don't have enough Northsiders, Easterners, Westbayers, Georgetowners, people from your area to fill these jobs? Why are we creating more jobs then?
But Graham, please stay on the line. I want to keep him involved in this conversation in the back here, because you are 100% right. We have to ask ourselves, what are we getting out of it by approving it? And I agree with you. The concessions are supposed to be only used in extreme circumstances. I had a major problem with previous UDP and PPM governments for concessions. I campaign against that, and I haven't changed my position, because I don't believe in giving support for concessions unless it's for a means of, boy, the economy is down, we're trying to spark some construction going, or we need the revenue. But if things are going well, there's no God-given reason to do it, because you're right. There's enough jobs in Cayman for Caymanians to get. They do a lot of, we promise you're going to get this amount of workers out of it. The truth is, the new hotel that's coming up, I saw where the minister is trying to get X amount of Caymanians in that hotel. I am, again, hopeful that he can deliver. But being the former minister, knowing the labor market, it's going to be that's a difficult task for him to complete, because he's competing against other industries within the market, financial services, and all the other areas of technology, IT, accounting, all of these other areas. So it's going to be difficult for an industry that is not considered attractive. When he was saying entry level, I personally think if you have a smaller amount of Caymanians available, try to get them at the top positions, not necessarily entry level. I don't mind somebody coming from elsewhere and coming to be at the entry level, or not the entry level, but what we consider the lower level paying jobs. If we have people, make them do those jobs. I don't want my Caymanians to do. I want the Caymanians making the money. Whereby you have money, you have power, you have control over your country, and you can still have it for years to come. Because if you ain't making the money, you're not going to have the control. But so I agree with you about the lack of, or we should not be giving away concessions just because it comes with added concerns and cost. You get a little concession now, or we build this or allow this to be built, but you got to build the roads. There are more schools you got to do, so it becomes an added expense. So I agree with you, Colin.
One comment that I would have there would be that when you look at those lower jobs, they're lower paying as well, and then we have to be careful that we're also not importing a certain level of poverty when we bear in mind the cost of living.
Correct.
In the Cayman
But
Islands.
let's be honest, OC, and I know Graham is still there because I want him to finish his line of thinking. But let me tell you this. This country has been making money on the backs of other people for many, many years. The same thing that our forefathers went away to work for pittance to bring back home to the country. And every country, from a historical perspective, has had the same situation. So we're going through that cycle of life where Cayman is now at the top end, having people work for us on the lower income bracket. Not that their jobs are not as important, because they're just as valuable to the cycle of our economy in our country. But it's you only can create wealth on the back of somebody else. So if we want our country to be one of, kumbaya and everybody is equal, then you might as well turn into Cuba, where everybody gets exactly the same thing. It's just a way of historical successful societies. Graham?
Okay, Lord Graham, a couple more minutes because we want to give Minister Brian.
Real quick, and I'm not really picking on any particular, but to say the big monstrous building that we got next to the wharf. I wonder if anybody could tell me what the benefit of that to the Cayman Islands, whether we're going to be benefited from that more than giving 500 work permits, Because that could come with a lot of disposal at the dump that we don't have no space for. It come with a lot of traffic. They did nothing in that corner right there to enhance the coming off the road or the coming onto the road because of their adjacent buildings.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. And then I don't know if I want to see it, but have anybody been out in the back of there? They got one jetty. They don't want us to build a dock for the cruise ship, but they got one jetty going almost out by the cruise ship. In the back there. So that might be the new cruise ship dock. And they need to go look at that. All right, guys.
All right.
Thank you, Graham.
Don't forget the question. And I referred to you as minister before, deputy leader of the opposition, in relation to the number of questions that a member of parliament is allowed to ask.
Yes, there's unlimited amount of questions that you can ask, but they only the one thing that stops you from asking endless questions is there's a limitation on time. So there's only a certain amount of time per each day that is allotted for questions. So if you have 50 questions and the questions can be asked quickly and answered quickly within the allotted time, you can do 50 questions. But if you have, because you know that most questions can have supplementaries, meaning follow-up questions behind that one, it may take up, sometimes I've seen just 2 questions take up all the time allotted for questions. So that's why the rules have changed recently. It used to be a limitation per day of 3 per member per day. But now that's unlimited. So it forces you to be more useful of the time available. If you want to get all your questions answered, you better be quick about it, because otherwise you're going to run out of time and you won't get the answers.
And your questions have to be approved prior
Correct.
Also by the speaker.
Yes, it has to go through an approval process. But just for technical stuff, like to say the things are not asked inappropriate or things that are not like.
So it's not to censor you; it's just simply to ensure that you're following proper protocol.
Correct, 100%.
Okay. Anything else before?
No, I just want to say today I found though very. Crosshairs, but very useful, because we have to talk about these things, right? Like people like, Ken, you got to be careful now when you come back and say that. They're going to think you're for the business community. And listen, my job as a leader is to be balanced. Like I've learned that over my growth. And I'm not here to not want Michael Miles or this government to win in the goal of protecting Caymanians' opportunities. That's not what this is about. My job I am paid for in opposition is to make sure that we're mindful that if we go too severe one way or the other, we can end up having some unintended consequences. And I'm a straight shooter like that, because if I didn't believe what I said, I just wouldn't say it. Now, if I'm proven to be wrong, I'll be happy to be wrong. But all I'm saying is, please be mindful. There's a warning light. And at first I said this, OC, if you recall, I said this about a month and a half ago, that please be cautious in your steps And then right afterwards, recently now we're starting to hear the comments from other people. So it's going to come to fruition.
Person want to know how can someone from West Bay get in contact with you?
Anytime, 926-0005, 926-0005. If I don't answer right away, send me a WhatsApp. As soon as I have some free time, I'll call you. I'm on my way to Parliament right after this because I'll be submitting a very significant motion for the next sitting of the House, which I think is going to come with some major publicity or discussion.
That's 926 or 936?
926.
926-0005. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sending it to them by WhatsApp as well.
With that being said, I know it's now 10 o'clock. I want to say thank you so much for this opportunity to come on the show again. On behalf of the People's Progressive Movement, we're working hard, trying to be constructive in our criticism. You may have seen that we haven't done a lot of criticism thus far, but rightfully so. The government needs to be given the opportunity to get its feet wet and get settled in. But time is running out because you only have four years, and we're almost at the half-year mark, which is 1/8 of your administration. So it's only before time we're going to have to come down harder. With that being said, God bless everybody who was tuned in today, and may God bless the Cayman Islands.
Thank you.
So
And for our listeners, I'm sure that you will hear this on our Radio Cayman's news later on, but there's some breaking news in the United States where there are it is reported that multiple injuries and fatalities in a shooting at an ICE facility in Texas. Some of the preliminary reports saw that one person was killed, 2 injured, and it appears as if the gunman or the gun person may have taken their own life as well.
So
again, all about immigration, Folks, thank you for tuning in to For the Record this morning. Thanks for all of the questions that were posed as well. I urge you, if you get the opportunity, please attend the CASSA conference that is taking place at the University College of the Cayman Islands. And don't forget the keynote speaker tonight that starts at 6 o'clock. Have a great day. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to continue to bless these 3 beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
We are Radio Cayman.
Covering Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, and Grand